We're getting our roof replaced tomorrow, so we're gonna be, after everybody leaves, blocking off the entrance. Nobody get in. We don't want nails in anybody's tires.
Awesome.
That's fast.
Yeah, that's fast.
It's
Good.
fast.
Well, they just delivered the stuff today, the shingles and stuff.
Good.
Just went with the dark color.
I need to call them too, because I need some new gutters. I had this place I don't know how to get closed.
They close.
You don't remember?
Yeah, I remember. I
Yeah,
never
so
paid
they were
attention.
in the middle of my life. So I didn't get my, I didn't know my gutters not right.
Oh, no.
So I got a roof, my roof has just put it on my gutters.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. They don't really do. They make it worse instead of better.
Yes, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, just like,
Like,
no,
scoot out there. I just need to have the table, and I don't wanna do the front.
I didn't.
Scoot out there.
And then they would.
No, I just don't wanna be in front of anybody.
I want to be close to the steps.
I'm just like,
Did they finish the work?
no, I don't have any recourse.
You just need to have the
I'm
table so I
happy with
can.
it, and there's our business.
We don't have to pay, though. Did you get it
It was, I had already, it was an insurance thing, I had already paid them, so. I mean, I know, I mean, what am I gonna do?
You working tomorrow?
So-
No, I have a fibroid, actually,
For my liver.
Oh,
I can tell.
I thought you were able
No, she won't use everything on
to. That's how you, I thought it was because of your house.
It's 5:45.
It's in the order side.
Okay, it's 5:45 and we will call the meeting to order. And I'm gonna give the floor to you guys. You are the guests of honor, so
Appreciate it. I'll go ahead and kick things off. For those that don't know me, I'm Eric Smith with HWC Engineering. We're here tonight to talk about one active project and one that is being considered for the town utilities. Dustin Whalen is our project manager. He's been working with the town on a water project, so he's going to kind of give an update of where we're at on that, kind of where that one is headed with over the next few months. And then myself and Todd Solomon are going to go through a couple alternatives that we've been working on the wastewater plant following the meeting we had in April. So once Dustin is complete, then we'll kind of go through the wastewater piece. Will obviously take a little bit more time than the water. So with that, I'll turn it over to Dustin, and unless you guys have anything you want to go through before we start into our work.
sounds good.
Well, my information's pretty short. I think we spoke a little bit at your last meeting. The biggest change or update since then is we've been in contact with Baker Tilly and SRF. In order to get the pooled funding for the project, we need to be able to close on the project with SRF at during their November closing period. And kind of back calculating from November, all the steps that need to happen on the financial side and the legal side between that date to be determined. And when we open bids, there's a lot of information that they go through with document prep. They do their due diligence reports and things like that. Backing all that out, we need to open bids in the end of September. So, which is fine with us. Our plans are pretty close. We'll get some input from Fred and Randy. We're still working away, just all the stuff in the background. So I have a copy for them. I got a copy that I can leave with you guys if you're interested in looking at the plans. But right now, just kind of targeting, we'd like to open bids on September the 23rd, if at all possible. We would just need a member of the council to be there at the bid opening. It lasts 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. We like to have during the day, that way contractors can come deliver the bids in hand. We don't have to coordinate some drop off at after when you do that 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock bid opening. The town halls isn't open during that period, so there's somebody needs to be man or woman the space during that time. So if we could do it during the day on the 23rd,
So Wednesday,
or if the 23rd doesn't work, we could do the 24th also. But Wednesdays and Thursdays are the best for bid opening due to some of our funding requirements and getting wage determinations updates sent out to the contractor.
Those always come out on Fridays, so
Yeah.
that's why Wednesdays work good. It'll be a publicly advertised bid opening, so there will be no action taken. You take them under advisement pending our review.
Just read them out loud, say noted, and then close the meeting, and we take it and review the bids and everything.
And we would bring them to your October meeting with a potential action. And I'm sure Baker Tilly would be at that meeting because that would kind of start the process of getting toward closing.
he called me today. I sent Doug a message because I hadn't heard anything. And he called me and said that he should have me numbers on rate studies by next week sometime.
Good.
I think the 23rd will work.
It works for me. What about you guys? Since it's gonna be during the day? Is everybody here on September 23rd?
Is there a time? Usually like that in the afternoon, but if the morning works better for one of you guys to attend.
We're open 8 to 6 on Wednesdays, so.
We could even have it at 6 o'clock if that works better for you.
You indicated you'd like to do it in the afternoon now. So.
We can do it in the afternoon, but if I didn't realize you guys were open until 6.
Oh, okay.
So if we just like to have it so that
Town
if
hall's
they, if they come in
Yeah.
at 5:25,
A lot of
they can drop
times
off
they-
the
they're
bid.
still change their numbers, and if there's a gap between when town hall closes and when the bid opening is, then
We can just do it here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're open 8 to 6 that day, so you can have it whenever and we're all
that'd be
here.
perfect. Fine, we'll just do it, yeah.
We'll do it at 5 o'clock local time on September 23rd. Then we also need to schedule a pre-bid meeting. The town council is more than welcome to attend that. They don't have to. We usually like to have Fred and Randy attend that. That's where the contractors can come, ask questions, visit the site, and visit any time on a water main project. But they can come, talk to the engineer, they can talk to the town people, employees, and ask questions and things like that. We're targeting September 11th. I don't even know what day that is.
The Friday.
Friday. And that can happen anytime.
Do I have to be here?
You do not.
You
Because
have
I
a board.
will not, I'm out of town that week.
As long as we have a place to have it.
Yeah, I mean,
Will this building be open?
We do the community center that day, yeah.
I mean, these guys can get in here if you need to, but you can have the community center wherever you want.
I mean, if there's
You can have it wherever you
7
want.
or 8 contractors, I hope we get that many. I mean, this could get a little congested if we had it here.
Well, you got shelter house number 1 or the senior center, either one.
Or senior center, I guess that's what I'm sorry.
That'd probably be best.
You have to have one of the council there too, right?
Not
We
for
do not.
pre-bid.
No.
Okay.
You're welcome, but you don't have to be there.
Okay.
We will, after that meeting, we'll do minutes of that meeting, and that's really just for the contractors to ask questions and start the process of them, pulling their bids together.
Yeah, if we do the senior center.
Sorry about that, folks.
Let's do that.
Senior center
Yep.
on the 11th, and do you know what time you're wanting to do that one?
10 a.m. usually is a good time, but if you guys have a different time, you can prefer it.
That won't be a very long meeting, huh? I don't even think we have very many seniors at what do seniors have?
Half an hour.
Half hour.
We have none.
Okay, so that'd be fine. So 10 o'clock work for you guys?
10 o'clock on the 11th.
Are you gonna be posting those, or do I need to do that?
We'll take care of all the advertisements, and
Okay.
we'll advertise publicly on August, well, what newspaper do you guys use typically here?
Well, you have to use the Clarion now, and then we don't have one in our community any longer. So, you just send it to, I'll give you,
You guys do Evansville's?
no,
Princeton Daily.
yeah, and then the South Gibson Star Times, so,
Those dates are weird.
yeah, they
Yeah,
only,
obviously.
that's a once a week paper, and then Clarion is 4 days a week, I think, maybe, I don't know.
If you can, yeah, send me which ones you use and then,
I just send it, they're all together,
okay.
so I send them to, Julie Townsend and tell her when I'm having them, or Andrea Howe.
Okay.
So.
The first advertisement will be around August 28th, and the second advertisement will be around September the 8th. We have to do it twice, at least 7 days apart. So we'll adjust those a little bit depending on what days the papers run and everything. But we'll get those sent out, and then we'll also send out invitations to contractors that do work in the area. If there's any contractors that have expressed interest from you guys or anything, let me know. We'll send them invites, but we'll do all the normal suspects in the area.
Okay.
Is there any benefit to talk about where we're doing this work, or we just want to leave these for the guys to review? And
Nothing's changed, has it?
No.
Nope.
Okay, any questions?
I think let these guys study on it a little bit and give you
Have
guys
you got a
another
chance to see it?
I'd say, just for the sake, knowing when we have to advertise it and get it ready for the contractors, if there's any comments or revisions, we probably would need to have them by the end of the month.
Did you want to discuss the internal problems that you guys are having? Are
I
those
think
in
we
the
go
same
over
place?
these here and see where it falls. Once we go over what's already printed up.
But it's not addressing what we talked about the other day.
Yeah, but it just, if the scope is still there, what would be less to, if we were to add something to it, is kind of what I'm trying to say.
But we can't add to it because it's already,
We can,
Priced out, right?
it depends on where it is. I mean, we
Okay.
certainly can.
Okay.
If you can tell us where you want something, we could, worst case, we might have to amend the PER for SRF so it's in a covered area. But that's not a big deal. We can do
That's
that.
the easy part.
The other thing is we can always add it after the fact, as a change order if funds are available.
Sure.
But it is early enough. If there's something critical you want to add, we can do it.
I just knew that we had to-
Critical.
send these out. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we have enough time.
With the pre-bid being the 11th, I think our goal would be to try to finalize the bidding documents by, the first week of September.
Yeah, because I think once they go through there and they say, hey, no, we tweak just a little bit here, or we add something here, or take away whatever, maybe come up with a list of something.
Okay. That works.
That's all I have on the water. It was pretty straightforward since we spoke, and nothing, the scope hasn't changed since we started planning on the whole thing. But
All right, any water questions before we walk away from that? Okay,
You want the wastewater?
all right, here we go. Wastewater.
I have 6 of these packets, so I've got one for each of you. I had sent this down to Stacy and Randy, so they have it. The only thing difference in this from what they have is their graphics at the back, which I'm gonna go through. So, here's one more. I just need,
I have mine, so. Here, don't leave me.
I need one to talk from, but I'll leave it behind when we're done, so. Before I get too far ahead, I want to talk about a couple things. End of July, I assume most of you are aware, we got a letter from IDEM, asking for an additional action plan as part of the agreed order. What that is, and it kind of dovetails into what we're talking about tonight, based on, still having some issues at the plant, still having some, I&I issues, some wet weather flow issues. They've asked for an additional action plan. That's something that they do in open agreed orders from time to time. We've done a lot of the work that we initially said we were going to do. Now they're asking us for a plan to say, in order for us to close this agreed order, you need to give us an additional set of actions you're going to take to address what are still some lingering problems. So that could be all plant work, or we could say we're gonna do work at the plant and, we've got a few things we found in the collection system. We can develop that together, but obviously tonight, kind of going through the options for the plant is gonna be part of what we tell them. But, we owe that to them by the end of September, 60 days from the day of the letter, so.
How deep is their analysis there? Like, what I'm getting at is, if the work we do may or may not alleviate the issues they saw at their last visit, are they like, well, you're moving forward with something at the plant, or they get very specific on the work you're doing has to impact what we saw on our visit?
I'm gonna answer that two ways. They're gonna wanna see that it impacts what they saw, but the people that are reviewing this are not engineers.
I understand.
So they're gonna wanna see that we're doing something at the plant that's going to address the effluent quality, which what we're looking at, both options will affect that. And they're gonna wanna see something, whether it's at the plant or in the system, we've got some things that are going to continue to attack wet weather items. So
This letter says, number one, actions respondent will take to address inflow and infiltration in the collection system.
Yeah.
That's their number one.
Yeah.
Number one point.
Tracy, can you look out for that letter sometime?
So with that, the other thing, before I get into the options is, Randy sent me some information about where he had some overflows when we had that really bad event in June.
Yes.
And in blue is where they were, that there was 3 manholes. One is right here. This is almost to the head of the plant. So obviously that's when all the flow is collectively trying to get here and can't get in as quick as it needs to. So that's an obvious choke point. The other 2 though were interesting, that they were in this area where we did all that work around the church, where we did both storm sewers and some sanitary rehab. Makes me think there could be some sump pump issues in that area, or something else is still going on there. So
Yeah. Was the church one that we discovered have gutters?
That's on the smoke testing.
here,
Yeah.
let's meet.
I prepared a letter,
Okay.
but we've been having training and I've been working on budgets, but I prepared a letter last week. Did I forward that to you guys or
No,
not?
but I think we talked about it briefly.
So I just put one together. You guys are gonna have to look at it. I put Tony's name to it. I think I sent it to you, Tony, maybe. Maybe I haven't done that yet because I just did a rough draft but there's 16
Yes.
16 from the smoke test that are connected, sump pumps are connected to the sewer that we have to send letters to. And I still have to look up the
Gutters or
ordinance.
sump pumps or
Good.
Gutters, sorry.
So, are those in proximity to these problems we're seeing with the manholes?
Oh,
Like, for instance, down around Holy Cross.
I know of 2 for sure, 3. One's on Strain, one is there on Church, and one's out in Indians. That's the only ones that I remember.
Okay. Smoke testing revealed, I guess the church right there is one of the culprits.
Something we certainly should look hard at.
When you look at the roof on that building, it's a lot of water.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and if there was, whether it's just surface drain from the downspouts or a sump pump, it could be hundreds of gallons a minute, which will fill up the sewer pipe. Considering there's already probably I in it from other places, of lesser amounts.
So why wouldn't we address that?
I don't know the answer to that.
We addressed everything that was in the public rights of way area, but stuff that was private, rather than have a contractor do it, we thought it was, the town should police that since it's on private property.
Yeah, I understand that part.
Oh.
But we knew though, because you're telling me you knew that the smoke testing showed that they were connected, correct?
Yes.
So why haven't we addressed it yet? I mean, we've known for a
And
very
we
long
brought
time.
it to the town board of how he would like to address it. Do you
Yeah.
want to enforce the fine as it was stated back in the ordinance?
Yeah.
Or do you want to give them a letter and say, hey, you might be new to this area, you might be the third homeowner since the ordinance was put in the nineties? How do you want to address it?
Okay. I really think my question is not the how do we want to address it. The question is why. We've known for a long time, a couple of years at least since we did that smoke testing. Why have we not addressed it right now? Has it like 2 years? And that's a huge amount of water. And now we're looking at another project and we still haven't really removed all of that stormwater coming into our septic sewer. Because we haven't addressed those. This is my question. Can we make decisions tonight? We're open meeting. I would like to make a motion that we send a letter to everyone, initial letter, give them 30 days. If it's not addressed in 30 days, then we sign.
That's what this is. That's what I was reading.
Yes. So can we proceed with that as soon as possible? Because now we're looking at a project and maybe we don't have this IDAM finding again if we had done this 2 years ago when we knew the smoke testing showed that. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
But I don't think that's gonna address the capacity issue that we have. I mean,
But we
It's
don't
gonna
really
help
know
it.
our capacity issue, the extent of it really until we've eliminated as much as we possibly can.
Because
And
that's
you're
your
telling me we
I&I.
haven't addressed it.
Yes.
I didn't know that we had so many, and that especially the church is one of them, that are still putting stormwater into our septic system.
I believe the smoke test said it was off the awning. So it's not the whole church, it's off the awning.
Okay. All right.
So we can eliminate the whole block of church.
Well, that's better.
Yeah, that's
A
the
little
difference
better.
between what you just said. Okay, let's get that addressed, okay, as soon as possible.
How would
I
you
don't
like
think
to
we can make
address
a
the sump
decision
pump
until we find
discharges?
What?
How you want to address the
Yeah.
sump pumps? If we're going after gutter drains, you go after sump
That's
pumps.
exactly right.
You
So
wanna
how do
go
we
after-
identify that?
You have to do a home inspection, I would say, to see if they have one, or it's plumbed into, if it's going out the yard, or if it's in their sewer.
I think we have to do it. So come up with a plan, how we can do it, how we can check everybody's sump pumps.
I've got some processes that some other communities have used for sump pumps that I can share with you. I mean,
It'd be great.
it's not an easy process, I know, but
Mhm.
that it's, sometimes you give them the opportunity to say, do you have one? And can you show us where it discharges? And then you have to dig a little deeper sometimes on a lot of them. But yeah, I've got a couple I'll send to you.
That'd be
That would
fantastic.
be great. And I think that if people in our community understand that we're actually trying to prevent having to spend so much money on our sewer system, that's actually gonna cost them more money in the long run than the inconvenience of disconnecting their sump pump from our septic sewer, then they'll probably be more cooperative, as long as they understand it. Because this is a huge number. This is gonna cost all of us that live in this town a ton of money every month. But we need to see what we can do to get this less. Maybe we don't need to spend all this money. Maybe we can make it less. Everybody has to do their part. Let's start with, what are you doing with your stormwater? Before we say, every month pay extra money for your sewer bill, so we can treat your stormwater in our septic system.
Agreed.
it's gonna have to be, like they said in the past, they disconnect it whenever you inspect it, and then they turn around and reconnect it back in. So,
We did it all before. All this was been done. Before. Done in the 80s. Everything. All these areas, manhole overflows, same.
Disconnect the sump pumps.
40 years ago, disconnected sump pumps, went in and inspected them, yeah, it's disconnected. But
We gotta try again.
sure, that's all you did.
You gotta try again.
I don't know.
4
It's
years
not gonna be the
is
same people.
4 years is a long time.
It's not gonna be the same people.
It was 40 years, is a long time.
Be the same. Be the same people.
Some people honestly might legitimately not know
They
this
not.
at all.
Very
Right.
well,
So-
and a lot of people have purchased homes
Yeah.
that may have been done before they even
Right,
purchased
That's
them,
why
you
they
know what I
don't
mean?
know.
They may not even know it's there.
Right.
They may not know where the water's going, they just know it's not flooding.
They just know it's not a problem for them.
Yeah.
Goes through the
comment about public education is important though. That might be, that will be a good tool to help educate folks. But just be aware, you typically get a lot of blowback from the public when you go onto their property. But educating them will go hopefully a long
We also
way.
You
get
also
a lot
get a
of
lot of
blowback.
blowback when you raise
We
rates.
try to
Yeah.
spend a ton of money and
Rock and hard
get
place.
everybody in their pockets, right? So
The
It's
best
a
thing is
snowball.
try to tell them that if they can help be part of the solution, it can help everybody. You know,
Yeah.
It'd be good to maybe put something like that in the letter.
Yeah, well,
I could write a little paragraph, maybe put in the letter. It would help.
any assistance is welcome.
All right, with that said, I've got a couple options to kind of go through with you. If you recall, just to kind of rehash from April, we talked about, there was an alternative that we developed back in 2021, when we did a preliminary engineering report that actually was kind of the first phase of the collection system work. We looked at an alternative to increase the capacity of the plant, basically up to 1.05 million gallons per day, basically a 50% increase from the 700,000 gallons per day it is now. At that time, we also realized in talking with Randy and the staff at the time, there were some other things that needed attention that hadn't been included in that down at the plant. And 6 years had gone by, so we needed to update that number. And then we also agreed to put together a number of what needs fixed up at the plant, equipment-wise, what processes to allow them to just operate more efficiently and more better. That doesn't necessarily come with the added cost of increasing capacity. So those are the two options we put together. Todd did all of the outreach. He actually called vendors, contractors to update equipment pricing. So we feel pretty good about the numbers we're going to show you tonight. So just, this was one of the graphics I had when we met at the plant. And just for the sake of all of us here at the table, I'm just going to kind of rehash kind of the major processes and how the flow processes through the plant, just so it'll help you better understand the options I'm going to go through with you. But flow comes in here and goes through that deep channel here, the influent channel. It goes through a screen, drops into the wet well, and then there are raw sewage pumps that pump it to this splitter box that splits it into one of two oxidation ditches. They have these rotors, those spinning rotors at the head of each ditch that provides the aeration. And then the effluent from those ditches goes to the clarifier splitter box. That's where the solids settle out. Clean water goes, discharges through the top over weirds. So it goes through, splits between two of those. There are also RAS-WAS, which is return activated sludge, and waste activated sludge pumps here. You return sludge back to the head of the plant because it helps promote the treatment. The waste activated sludge draws the sludge off of the bottom of the clarifiers and pumps it to the digesters. And from the digesters, you either haul out in liquid sludge or you pump it to the drying beds to let it set, dewater, and then it's hauled off in a dewatered state. Effluent from the clarifiers goes through this large chlorine contact tank. It's a gaseous disinfection. That's the last step. And it's discharged here to Pigeon Creek. There's also an effluent pump here because when the creek gets up, it can't get out by gravity. So there's a pump here that pumps it out when needed to overcome that head. 20-some years ago, this part of the process was added. Essentially, when flows exceed 2.1 million gallons per day, which is the peak flow of the plant, they overflow weird and go into this structure here. It's a wet weather overflow. From there, there are pumps that pump it over to this equalization basin. There are mixers there that keep the water mixed. And when flows subside, they're able to gravity drain that back here to the head of the plant. So essentially, that's kind of the process that currently exists. So what I've got a graphic for each one, and I thought what I'll do is I'll go through each alternative and then we'll go through the cost for that alternative, and then we'll go through alternative 2, go through the cost rather than go through both and then look at both costs. So this is the option, alternative 1, where we're increasing the capacity. This would get us up to 1.05 million gallons per day, average daily flow, 3.15 million gallons per day, peak flow. The items in blue are items that are capacity related. Items in red are not capacity related. They're more things that need fixed up at the plant, and you're going to see most of those in both alternatives. So the first item here, we're going to install, modify the screen with a weir. That'll allow us to handle the additional flow and provide the proper head in that channel to get the additional flow in. We're also going to put in freeze protection for that screen. We've got a good alternative to prevent that from freezing. In this option, we're going to replace the raw sewage pumps because they need to be bigger, because we're going to be pumping more into it. We're going to replace both aerators with new modern higher efficiency rotors. That'll increase the oxygen transfer in the ditch. At the clarifier splitter, we're going to modify that because we're going to be splitting flow between 3 clarifiers, because since we're increasing the capacity of the plant, we need a 3rd clarifier. So that will do work here in this box, and then we'll do work here adding a new 3rd clarifier. Again, the location may be a little closer here, but that's just shown. If you recall, there's still some equipment rehabilitation or replacement needs done on those existing clarifiers. We've got budget money in there to do that. With the higher capacity flow, the state will make us put in additional digestion because of the flow increase. So we'll be putting in 2 additional digesters that are essentially going to match the size of those existing ones here. So they're generally going to be constructed here. We're going to put in phosphorus control, because when increasing flow to 1 million gallons per day, we'll have to treat for phosphorus. So that chemical injection will be in this RASWAS pump station. We're going to modify the chlorine contact tank so that we can put a UV unit in there. Basically, we're going to build a channel in the middle of it so that the flow can all be directed through a UV disinfection. All of the gaseous chlorine and dechlorination will be taken offline and decommissioned. We're going to modify the reaeration tank, get us a little space in there. We're going to replace that effluent pump. As far as sludge, we're going to build a new force main to get sludge to a new building here where we'll put a screw press. That will allow them to get sludge out of the, one of the biggest things they've had is stacking solids in the plant. What that means is they've built up solids because they can't get them out fast enough because of what's coming in. Having a screw press that will basically dewater the sludge much better than drying beds, and they'll put it in dumpsters here. That will allow them to get sludge out of the process, and it will give them more capacity to promote better treatment, give better effluent. It will help what they see when they come look at the plant. Bigger capacity, since we got bigger motors, we'll have a bigger generator. And then we have a couple add alternates, because these are things we don't have to do. But we talked about there's some of these mixers that are not working. We talked about removing them and kind of repositioning the ones that do. And then another add alternate is to clean the drying beds and replace the media. So that's kind of the guts.
So you'll still need the drying beds with the screw press?
It's a backup. Yeah.
Okay, it's a backup. Okay.
Yeah. That's why we made that an alternate.
Gotcha.
So the cost of that's in this memo, and in this memo is basically a lot of detailed description of what I just went through. That's what's in this, along with the cost estimate. So if you turn to the cost estimate for alternative 1 at the end of the document, it's table 1-1. Pretty much all those items I mentioned, plus a lot more detail is there. We've got the oxidation ditch equipment, the new clarifier, the splitter box modifications, the new raw sewage pumps, UV disinfection, chlorination tank modifications, RAS pumps, the metal building for the screw press and the screw press. You can see those two together are 800,000, the screw press and the building. Clarifier is another big one. That new clarifier is about 1.2 million just in itself. Equipment demo, a lot of miscellaneous piping. The generator, you can see is $750,000 with the big generator. Another big item is the new digesters. Those two together are about 1.5 million with the new blowers. That's most of the work. Also the equipment on the clarifiers, and then the insulation heat jacket for the screen. So we have a subtotal of construction of 10.3 million. Construction contingency of a little over $1 million, with adding in non-construction costs of 25%, which is an allowance at this point. That may come down a little, but the total capital cost will be 14.2.
And that take care of all your I&I problems in the collection system.
It would allow you to handle them. Yeah,
It doesn't remove them.
it's not going to remove them, but it will allow you to handle them.
You won't keep getting, you get off of items. Bad list.
When, if ever, is it beneficial to make the pond larger? Especially when it's a lot of I&I.
Yeah. I mean, we're increasing the capacity. I think that would handle everything you're going to see. You could certainly look at making the pond larger.
And that might be a discussion for the other option,
Yeah,
but just something.
yeah.
Where would you go with it though?
Do you own below this line? No.
You don't do, not do.
So you don't have a whole lot of room unless you acquire land.
Well, I was looking at it today, where that road is on the west side of the lagoon. That was a thought I'd had today. I talked to Randy about that for a minute, about the lagoon expanding. You could take that west, probably another 25 or 30 feet.
You mean like
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah. We could look at what that would gain you, volume wise.
We could add depth to it too if we needed to.
That would not be real expensive to do. It would certainly buy you some additional capacity too.
Because like right now, I basically drained that lagoon in 3 weeks. But all that stuff that's by the weekend, it'll be empty. I'll have it completely empty. And I've only run those pumps 2 days in lagoons.
I'd be a little cheaper than $14 million. Do we strike?
Well, maybe it's an option in conjunction with the.
Because there are some things, you're exactly right. So there's some equipment down there that I have a lot of equipment failure too.
Oh, yeah.
So my RAS pumps both went out at one time. So Fred told me they'd never been rebuilt or anything. And he's been here 44 years.
I think we have one of them out one time.
Those were put in 06, so they've been 20 years.
So yeah, so that's a long time.
One or
Yeah.
two. They may have been taken out once at the most.
So I got the one back, it's rebuilt, it's doing very well. We moved the WAS pump to the RAS pump side. We don't have WAS right now, so we have to do that manually. But we'll have that other one back, and then I don't know if we rebuild that other one or not, but we did talk about one on the shelf because there's nothing local.
Yeah.
I know you priced that.
Yeah, it's in the option. Yeah.
Like another question in addition to the pond question. So I noticed a few of the items you mentioned are triggered by the million gallon number,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Well, the only one being the phosphorus.
that's the only one?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there was one on that. Yeah. I'm just thinking, if we stay below $1 million, what's one other thing. What was the cost on the phosphorus?
100,000. 150.
But there is always a chance that they make you add phosphorus anyway, right?
They could.
It could.
So
Okay.
with making the pond bigger, I mean, you're just gonna catch more, you still gotta run it through the same plant.
Yeah, but we're never always at 120% capacity like we were this month. We are only in the rainy months, right? So when we get into the dry months, so January, I was 58% capacity. February, I was 65%.
If the water's in the pond, it's not in Pigeon Creek.
Exactly, and I need to run it through my plant to treat it, so it is capable of being put back into Pigeon Creek.
But that also tells us clearly that our problem is the rain.
Absolutely.
Well, no, it's a rain.
And so we're looking to spend all this money to treat rainwater.
Yes.
That's crazy.
So even if your pond was bigger, you're still forcing that volume through your plant, you're still gonna pump the same amount of
But what
water.
she's saying is the I&I is really what we need to be treating, not making our plant bigger to treat rainwater. We don't want to treat rainwater because we don't have to.
Oh, I agree, but
So-
I'm just saying, even if you make that
I
pond
agree.
bigger, you still got that flow coming in that your
Sure.
plant can't handle.
But I
if you
can,
settle
I
it.
can maintain that when I want to.
Yeah, it's in the
With my-
pond so you can handle it. That's-
That's what I do.
It's
I
intent.
love when I
Yeah.
can bring it through.
It's,
But what I think what I'm trying to say, and it's not coming out right. So during our heavy rains, our plant's pumping as much as it can.
Yep.
We're maxed out, completely maxed out. The pond's still half full. We're still blowing through. So a bigger pond on a heavy fall is not going to keep you from blowing out because it's pushing through. It's bulking out. So you're not able to send it up there faster. So if you're going to make a bigger pond, you need a bigger pump to take more of that capacity out of that pipe, shove it uphill.
Yeah.
You're talking about the overflow pumps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that.
Yes, you have
Yeah,
to
you
have more.
could, you
faster.
could make those as big as what that pipe would handle.
Yeah.
The pipe going to the pond.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be the only way you cut off at the headwaters.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
to keep it
Absolutely.
going through.
Yes.
So, I mean, making the pond itself is not going to save anything unless you take
You
what
just
you
have
handle up there.
to, you just have to adjust your pump wattage and stuff, side of your pump. Yes.
okay.
The only other thing to speak of on that one is, as I did mention, there was those optional items, but they're pretty minor in nature. You know, the RAS-WAS pump on the shelf, the aerators, and the cleaning the drying beds. You know, all in together.
Right now?
One of the RAS is
One's
out.
gone and waiting on it to come back, so I don't have a loss but right now.
We just cut the quote in for that for 22,000.
That's about what that first one was, wasn't it?
We quoted it at 21 and some change, and then they billed us for a 22, a little bit more, so they took 15 off, so they're making their 15 back on the second. Which is fine. As long as we get 2 working pumps.
$45,000.
And we're hoping that the one that was in place of the RAS pump, hopefully it still has a good impeller. We'll inspect it when it's put back out. Because the other one's impellers were about half gone. The first one was gone.
What's the pond called? What's the pump called that works with the pond?
The overflow
The
pump.
overflow pump?
Yeah, these are the overflow pumps that are right in this structure here. They pump through. The second circle there is the gate, the valves for those pumps, and then they pump through a force main that discharges.
It's a big lift station.
What'd you say?
It's a big lift station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Basically what it is.
Do either one of those these proposals, they wouldn't look at upgrading those because of these proposals look at keeping the pond the same, so, okay,
it wouldn't be hard for us to take a look at that.
okay.
We ready to go to
Sure.
alternative? All right. So this option does not gain us any capacity, but it does do a lot of beneficial things at the plant, equipment upgrades that are necessary. I will tell you these improvements here will help them process heavier flows better because of what we're doing. Even though it's not a rated capacity increase, it's going to allow you to handle higher flows better. So what we're doing here is in the influence screen, we're still putting freeze protection on that existing screen. We're putting the new rotors on the ditch, each ditch. Now those are the same rotors that gain you capacity in the other option. But in order to get rated capacity, you had to have the third clarifier and the additional digester. So you're going to get a lot more efficient capacity out of those ditches, even though you're not increasing the flow of the plant, the rated capacity of the plant. It's going to be the same ones we're putting in the option where you're increasing the capacity. We're going to replace the equipment in the existing clarifiers. We're still going to do UV, modify the chlorine contact tank. We're going to replace that effluent pump and modify the aeration tank. Decommission and remove the gaseous chlorination, dechlorination. Put in the screw press in the building for dewatering sludge and the piping from the main process building into the to the drying beds. And then a couple add alternates. One is to have a third digester, even though it's not required. It would actually give you some additional flexibility with sludge. And then another add alternate for the mixers. So for this alternative 2, and we kind of went through all those items, the cost is with contingency and non-construction $5 million. The optional items on this one, there's a few more. You've got the mixers in the flow equalization basin. You got the third digester, which is $200,000. That's just the equipment. The concrete and the excavation, all that together, that third digester would be about, looks like it'd be about $1 million. Yeah. Only other big, this one also includes replacing, and another add alternate is upgrading the existing generators there, because we recently found out that it doesn't power a few essential items. So that's $400,000, and then same thing, cleaning the drying beds and replacing the heater. That's alternative 2.
The circles are the clarifiers, right?
Yes.
What if we were looking at a plan like this and we did the diffusers and we went ahead and added a third clarifier and we also increased the capacity of the pump? Is there any additional benefit to adding that third clarifier? What even made me think about that is we had one broke forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you've got one down, if we're overhauling, maybe they won't break like that.
That was a weather related. That was a weather related issue, and it broke. They froze, and it broke the arm.
I mean, if you're going to add that third clarifier, you might as well do the capacity increase. In my opinion, because you're adding that much more cost. The only thing you'd be missing is the additional third and fourth digestion. Is that right?
And upgrading the pump capacity.
Yeah.
Raw pumps, less loss pumps.
Sure, but 5 to 14 is a big jump, and
Yeah.
we're trying to not get crucified like hopstoddies right now.
There are certainly things that we could add to this alternative 2 that doesn't get us to 14.
Sure.
I think that's too much. I don't want to spend $5 million, to be honest. I think our capacity for the sewage that we send, we're not over capacity. It's a rainwater problem. We have to focus on that.
They've been
To
looking
me-
for it for 20 years, over 20 years.
What?
They've been looking for the I&I for over 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, not to the point where
45.
I don't know where I'll find the time, but I want to go door to door, talk to everybody. Like, really?
But it's not necessarily people that are doing it. I mean,
They don't know what they don't know.
I mean,
I know, but
I know, but I'm just
They
saying
don't
it's
know.
not necessarily homeowners diverting their rainwater into the system. You're gonna have holes somewhere, and it may not even be on a homeowner. It's somewhere else, but like you said, they've been looking for it for 40 something years.
It's in
A lot of
mines
it's
and
the clay
service
tile.
laterals.
And we just had a client that had fought the same battle. I mean, they had a trailer park that they were forced to, I didn't make them take it in because it was adjacent to the town. And that was one of the biggest sources of their I-9, but they also had it in their systems. And, finally they just had to say, we've got to find a way to treat it because we can't get it out. They had felt like they had exhausted everything. And, it's a small town, and Morgan County, Brooklyn, and their rates went up to $120 a month. Nobody wants to pay that, but that's,
And I hate to be the person to say this, but the unpopular thing to do is to go with the better solution because this costs more money. And it's affecting my rate. It's affecting everybody's rates that are in here that live in the town of Fort Branch. So do we want to have ridiculous rates? Absolutely not. But we owe it to our residents that they need a good working system.
But I don't know that the 14 million is a better option.
Well, you're increasing your collection and the
But you're
bucket's been
not.
kicked down the road for the last how many years, Fred?
here's a scenario. So just throwing this out there. If you do alternative two, say you spend $5 million. IDM's gonna back off because you're doing something, and 2-3 years down the road after you get this built and you've still got problems because you've still got I&I, they're gonna come back and say, you gotta do something. And then you either gotta address the capacity or you gotta continue to do what you're doing. It's kind of a vicious circle. If you can't solve it out there, you gotta find a way to deal with it.
It's
So
just
that
going,
14 million just went up to 21.
Huh?
That 14 million that we have in front of us today, we wait another 5 years, it's 21 million. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
You don't know.
I mean,
But instead of tripling our capacity, what if we just doubled our capacity? Because if we can't control the I&I, we're still at 90. Right now, I'm 95% capacity for the year.
So
So
we're not tripling it. Well, we're
Increasing by 50%.
increasing it by 50%.
700,000 to a little over a million, right?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If if we respond to this additional action plan to IDEM and we say we're going to do alternative two, and say we're going to do continue to search for something in the collection system, they'll accept it.
is that addressing the I&I issue?
Huh?
Is that addressing the
You'll have to
I&I
tell them
issue?
you're going to do something on it, and maybe it's the letters on the sump pumps, and you're going to get more aggressive on it. They'll accept that, but we'll have to see at some point. You'll have to, in order to get off the agreed order, at some point you'll have to demonstrate one whole year that you don't have overflows and can meet your effluent limits. So you could
we need a
get
cost
one
in
of
that
these letters
time.
in 3 years if we're not able to do that.
Have
As
we
long
been
as
on
that-
have we been on some sort of agreed order for 10 to 15 years now?
As long as I've been here, we've
It's
been on
dated
it.
2015. The stormwater project was supposed to be the last step to get it, and the collection system rehab was supposed to be the last one to move in to do a demonstration period to maybe get off of it.
Mhm.
But there's also stuff in the plant that just has to get fixed too. So we're at a point, we've got to do a project.
We got to do a project for sure. It's just, I got to tell you, I feel like the pond needs to be part of this, whichever way we go. I'm no mechanical engineer, but I did birth one.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We
You were there, right?
I was there. Okay, all right. I held her hand.
We could do a 2A where we increase the size of the pond and increase those pumps and see what that is.
I have one more question now. With both of them, do you guys have an estimate for increased cost of utilities and things like that, operating costs? Because
Yeah,
we're
is
gonna
that-
add, do you have that? Because we need to, our cost isn't just the cost of the equipment.
Right.
It's increasing the operating costs as well. We're gonna have to understand, yeah.
Yeah,
And then chemicals, I know we'll eliminate the chlorine, right? But
Right.
then you adding a phosphorus treatment.
and you've got the bulbs on the UV you have to replace.
Mhm.
So,
Is it actually more cost effective to operate than the chlorine? then?
yeah, because you're just using electricity.
Well, that's going up too.
And it's certainly safer.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, we should give that to Baker Tillich, the annual cost difference. Some are gonna go down, but the net is gonna be increased.
I mean, that also fixes it.
Do you want us to look at a 2A where we expand the pond and the overflow pumps?
I do, if anyone else on the council agrees with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Your only other option is you're gonna have to get rid of them. You have to do something, or you're gonna have to sell them out. Neither one is a,
What's the longest you've seen someone on an open agreement for?
That town I just mentioned, they were on one for 20-some years.
27 years?
they can make us, let's say you choose not to do that. They can make you increase capacity if they think that's the answer. How does that work?
The biggest hammer they have is tell you you can't add any new customers. They put you on a sewer ban. They've not done that to you, which I'm not gonna say I'm totally surprised, but they haven't. At some point, if you continue to kick the can down the road, they can start fining you for the overflows. They haven't done that. That could be a next step.
That's in this letter too.
Yeah, I've seen communities be on some of these for a long time. I was like, how are they still on it? But
Well, they never have much of a funding solution. Item doesn't offer funding solutions,
No.
so.
and it's worse now than it was
Yeah.
10 years ago. It's tighter.
Everything. They tell you have a problem, we need you to fix it.
Yeah.
But we don't know how to do it.
So it's
Push
unfunded
it out to your
mandates.
residents.
I'm just looking at the 5 million number and making the plant more operationally sound, trying to find a way that there's some capacity squeezed out there. You talked about it would be more efficient. And we'll be able to handle the higher flows better. How much better is the question? If we can get better enough.
I'll give you like kind of a way to describe what I'm saying is, you may push 750,000 gallons per day through a month, in a month where you've exceeded the capacity. Well, you're able to treat that better. You had no effluent violations because you have the newer processes, the better equipment. And even though you don't have a higher rated capacity, you're able to better treat higher flows that come through the plant.
Another one, another iteration.
Yeah, we can do that.
Let's do that. Let's
We'll do that.
get the unknown places where stormwater is in, and let's get those taken care of.
We have to, have a solution in the next 40 days because he has to have a letter out saying what we're gonna do. To
Well,
address,
the letter that say
The
what
letter
we're gonna
that we
do is we're
received.
researching options, because we're not ready to make a decision.
I don't think that,
It's not gonna happen in the next 40 days, so what are they gonna do, fine us?
probably so, I don't
Okay,
know.
what's the fine? What do we know? Do you guys
I-
know?
I can write an additional action plan that doesn't, I can say part of the additional action plan is we're trying to enforce things. We've developed alternatives and cost estimates. We're refining and evaluating those. And in 30 days, we'll give you a more detailed action plan. We can try that. Or 60 days. And they'll probably accept it because you're not ignoring them. You're just saying we need a little bit more time to evaluate to tell you what we're gonna do. I would be surprised if they put the hammer down by doing that. I think if we just ask for 60, if you guys think you need another 60 days to make a good decision, I could write the additional action plan saying the detailed response of what will be done at the plant will be coming in 60 days.
And what kind of fines do they hand out if
They
they weren't to take it?
They have the right to fine you $25,000 a day for being in non-compliance.
And there goes each of your money.
technically you're not you wouldn't be in non-compliance because you provided a plan. We just say, we want more now, but if you guys need, and I get it, if you need another 30 or 60 days, I think as long as we provide an action plan of saying, we're looking at doing these things at the plant, and I could even include the description of the two options and say, we're also evaluating a couple variations of these. I think they'll give you 30 or 60 days.
Would they respond in a letter with what
Yes.
you're doing, that they
They
would
would-
accept that or not? I mean,
The case manager might call me first, but yes, they would give an official response and say, we don't accept this, or if you don't have something in 60 days, here are the consequences. Generally, as long as you don't totally ignore them, they're not gonna find you. And I'm not suggesting we ignore them. I'm suggesting we say, here's where we're at. Here's what we're doing. This is generally what we're going to do. There's going to be a combination of plant and collection system attempts, or it's going to be a combination of doing things in both places. Give us another 30 to 60 days to make a decision. And we'll have a detailed plan. Now, at that point, they'll put you on a schedule, because we'll have to provide a schedule with that says it'll be designed, it'll be financed, it'll be built by X date. And then if you miss those milestone dates, then they could fine you. So
just don't want to throw money away on fines.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
do not have the money for that.
I don't think, you're not going to see it with this. As long as we provide them an action plan.
Yeah, let's do another iteration. How long is it gonna take you guys?
Couple weeks. Okay.
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Just with the pond and the other improvements, if we get not only more efficient, if there was a way to eke out a little more capacity out of this, and stay closer to the 5 than we are to the 14, well, that would feel really good.
Hey, did you miss the part where I said I don't want to spend
I
$5
know,
million?
I
Did you miss that part?
I know, but
I just
the
think
plant, everything,
it's super
regardless,
frustrating.
Sandy, regardless of the I&I, so much stuff is either outdated, broken, not been maintained properly. And that's why we even proposed this option is what.
If you didn't even have I&I, there's stuff you.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree, but I also know we just spent $1 million out there fixing stuff. We just did that.
And it did some good. but-
Yeah, but we're still saying it's no good. But I'm also being told that we're at half capacity when it's not raining. That's super frustrating.
I totally understand.
And how do we explain that to everyone that lives in this town? We can't figure out how to get the rainwater to not go to the sewer plant. So therefore, we gotta spend all this money on this, right? It's gonna affect everyone, and that is what is negative. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, we do need an education campaign, I think particularly on social media, that says, hey, we can help ourselves here if people who know that they're putting water into their sewer system, be it gutter, sub pumps, or washing machines, that would stop that. It's more than you think. It's more water than you think, especially from gutters.
I always send out several letters about not putting the flushable wipes in there, and I guarantee you we pick up 3 or 4 buckets a day.
Well, you put a little ditty on the.
They are flushable, they're not
Because people are
biodegradable.
ignoring that. They're looking at, okay, what I owe. All right, I'm gonna write my check.
They just don't say.
Right, we need to have like an official, like a big thing. Those wipes are easy, right? Just a little bitty print on our water bill isn't good enough. Right.
We sent out actual letters on
Yeah.
that.
Maybe we put it on yellow paper.
Is that Facebook
Things like paper and shit.
page? Like, I wonder if you did like
Yeah.
this, I hate to say those like AI, like travel ball things you see if you have like
Yeah,
flushable wipe and you see if there's something like eye popping. That's like
Maybe
flushable
put
wipe
pictures of what it
and
looks
stuff
like
on
down
it.
there. It's pretty
We
disgusting.
could get a picture of
Somebody
Jay in
has
his
to-
orange clothes on, pin them all.
Yeah, listen, that's disgusting.
we could
And it's
make
real
it-
easy for
have
them to
AI
trash,
make a
right?
picture of Tony with some dude wipes.
Yeah. There's a bunch of them down there, bro. I'll tell you what, we pull them out every day, every morning.
Ugh. Okay,
Yeah, Sorry about the extra work there.
No,
Guys.
I believe me, we want to help you solve your problem as effective as we can without breaking the bank.
And I said before, you know, put it out to the public. Do you want us to do this, or do you want us to sell the utilities? Put it out there. Let them know, these are the two options that we have.
The layperson's not gonna know what the consequences of that are, though. They would say, well, whatever option's cheaper for me.
And we don't know that.
I fully understand that. That's what I say too.
And American Water.
What options can
American
solve
Water's
them?
not the hero that everybody thinks. They might be able to distribute their cost amongst more plants, but at the end of the day, it's still a substantial percentage of what you're gonna spend anyway, in terms of the rates that are, they still gotta do this work. They can spread it out a little bit, but it's still gonna affect the taxpayers in a big way, just not quite as big. So, you know, they can come in here and sell you that they're the hero and they're gonna swoop in and save rates, but they're not. They're absolutely not.
And you'd lose every bit of control.
Anything else? You good? I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye. What time is it? 6:49. Thank you guys. Thanks for all
Thank you
your
very
work. Sorry that it's a frustrating thing.
I forget it.
But
Thanks for driving from the big hole out there.
also, I know your Monday meeting was not very fun. Very awesome.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not us.
Somebody else was out stuff. I wasn't, didn't go
Well,
well.
there are new plans for
They go over there. I'll get them.
Oh,
but they don't know where they want to go.
They don't have a site.
No,
Is that
but they're
all?
raising their rates already. They're when they're raising, they don't have a site yet. So people are pretty upset. I don't understand that, but
Well, my
I'm sure they have a week or two.
Yeah.
Take the chair home and look at the plans in the chair.
Okay, I'll just put the plan right there in the chair.